Welcome to the Discover College Gymnastics podcast. If you're a gymnast or parent of a gymnast dreaming of competing in college, you're in the right place. Each week, join me as I talk to college gymnastics and acro and tumbling coaches from across the country. They'll reveal what they look for in a recruit, what it's like to be a college athlete, and they'll talk about what makes their programs unique. All of this is presented in short, easy-to-consume episodes because, believe me, I know you're busy. If you're ready to jumpstart your college gymnastics dreams, you're in the right place. Let's get started. Today I'm speaking with Coach Barbara Cordova, head gymnastics coach at Westchester University in Westchester, Pennsylvania. She is entering her 17th season at Westchester, and I just loved hearing about her passion for creating a positive team environment for all of her athletes. I also loved hearing about Westchester in general, and how it's such a cute little community, and how Westchester, the school, balances being a competitive athlete with being a student. Westchester really prides itself on academics, and they have so many support programs, mentoring programs, academic study tables that really help student athletes transition into college. I think you're going to love this episode with Coach Cordova. So without further ado, here is my interview with Coach Barbara Cordova from Westchester University. Okay, Coach Cordova, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here this morning.
Thank you so much for taking the time. So this is your 17th year, is that right? 17th year
Yes,
coaching
going into
Westchester?
my 17th season.
Awesome. So you were a season pro, but the season is coming up. We're filming or we're recording this in November, and your season starts in January. So
Correct.
Tell us one thing that you were looking forward to this season.
Well, we're going to Texas and Centenary for the second weekend of the year. And so it's a travel trip. We try to take some kind of travel trip every year if we can. And we're really looking forward to that trip. That's going to be a lot of fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. So that brings me to my next question. You guys you're Division II, so you travel to Division I schools sometimes, correct? So maybe you can just kind of walk us through the differences between, I think a lot of people are familiar with Division I and Division III. Division II, there's only 4 of you, you said in your conference. So kind of walk us through the
Well,
difference.
no, not in our conference. There's only 4 Division II schools in
Okay,
the whole country.
right.
So that's kind of like makes it tough for us, because sometimes we don't know exactly where we fit. But the good news is that, gymnastics is a national collegiate sport. So really the NCAA doesn't necessarily recognize divisions in some areas as far as qualifying for a national championship, things like that. So that's really awesome. And because of that, we compete against all divisions, Division I's, 2's, and 3's. Our conference that I'm in is actually called the Gymnastics East Conference. And that conference is made up of Division II and Division I schools. So there's 8 of us in this conference. The 3 Division II schools that are on the East Coast, the Ivy Leagues that have gymnastics, and William and Mary. So those are the 8 schools in our conference. We also compete in something that used to be USA Gymnastics Collegiate National Championship, which was a championship historically that USA Gymnastics partnered with some coaches many, many years ago. I'm talking about like back in the 1980s when the NCAA stopped sponsoring a Division II championship. Since then, a lot of Division II schools dropped programs. And so that championship evolved to allow other schools that didn't have the funding of a bigger Division I school to participate. So fast forward to today, USA Gymnastics is continuing to be our sponsor, but they're not hosting the meet anymore. So this meet is now the WCG-NIC, Women's Collegiate Gymnastics National Invitational Championship. So, and in that championship, we've further opened it up to other schools that can participate. So we're excited. This is our first year. Centenary is hosting it, and we're excited for that. So that's also mixed division. We have Division III, Division II, and Division I in that national championship.
So
And
are
of
all the
course,
are all the Division II schools, do they all compete there, and then you invite
yes,
other
they all
Division
compete
I?
there. Yep.
Got it.
And we've opened it up to more schools. Even fully funded Division I schools can participate if they fit in the criteria that we have. We do have some criteria that
Okay.
you have to follow just because we want to make sure we're protecting our Division II and III schools in it. The Division III
Right.
schools that participate in it are schools that have a hard time getting into the Division III championship because of their location or they're new, things like that.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, so it's opened up to all divisions. And it's awesome. I think one last thing I'll say about Division II is the philosophy of Division II in general is life and balance. So we at Westchester take that really to heart, and that I think we make sure that our gymnastics are really competitive, and we love gymnastics, and we want our athletes to do really well. But we recognize that they're coming to college for an education, and we really put that in high esteem.
Right. Okay. Perfect. That's good to know. I like that idea of a championship that's just for you, but you're opening it up to, so your athletes get exposure to other conferences and divisions as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's really
mean,
cool.
in the 80s, when the Division II started to drop, a lot of the reason was because of NCAA dropping a championship and then them not having people to compete with. So I think it's really important. I mean, in a sport like gymnastics, where, there's 84 programs total, we really need to be supporting each other. And I think the clubs need to be supporting us as well.
Right.
So, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about recruiting. I know it's a little bit different than Division III, but when do you think that student athletes should start the recruiting process? If they're a high schooler, when do you think is a good time to start reaching out to coaches?
For me, the I would say their junior year.
Okay.
I don't know if you're aware of this, but the rule for Division II just changed. We are allowed to communicate with athletes of any year now, which that is just a brand new rule this year. So I don't know if that's starting to spread. I've been getting a lot of emails from 27s and 28s, but I just don't have the staff or the time to really be digging into those years. So we just completed our, or not, we're not done yet, but we're just about finishing our 2025 class,
Okay.
starting to work with our 2026 class. So I just don't have the time to be able to really work with the sophomores and freshmen at this time. And we do give scholarships, athletic scholarships. So that's
Right.
different than Division III,
Right.
but we don't, at Westchester, we don't give full scholarships.
Okay, gotcha. What about skills? I mean, there's kind of two areas that you look at on the mat and off the mat. Can you kind of talk us through first, like what skills are you looking for on the mat? Are there certain levels? Are there certain exact
Sure.
skills that you like?
Yeah, I mean, um, to compete in the collegiate level, I believe whether you're Division I, II, or III, you have to have those level 10 skills because that's the rules that we compete by.
Right.
Um, at Westchester, all of the girls on my team that compete have a 10-0 start value on bars, beam, and floor.
Okay.
Um, and vault about a 9-9 start value in the collegiate on the collegiate vault chart or higher.
Okay.
So I think the difference is that I might not get an athlete that has that on all four events.
Yeah.
So because we're not giving those like 12 full scholarships, which of course that's about to change for some people as well, but
Yeah.
um we're not necessarily looking for 12 all-arounders because we wouldn't be able
Okay.
to get that because they're going to go somewhere where they might be able to get a full scholarship or a Division I experience that they're looking for.
Okay. Yeah, that was my next question. Do you look for just all arounders or are you looking for specialists as well?
Yeah, mostly we're looking for specialists. Obviously, we like our first year students to come in all four events. And so, but if not, I mean, I'm sure you've been doing this a while. You know that vault and bars is the priority. So those are the
Yeah.
two events that we look for first.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that we don't recruit the other events because we do, but we generally try to fill the vault and vault bars first because they're harder to find.
Right. Okay. What about off the mat things like work ethic, academics, things that are those not
Sure. Yeah.
tangible skills? Yeah.
Yeah, so we are a really strong academic school program. In the past, I don't even know, about 6 to 7 years, we've been in the top 12 of all the NCAA women's gymnastics teams as far as GPA is concerned. So last year, our team GPA was a 3.758, I think, something like that, around
That's
that area.
impressive.
Yeah, and we've been above a 3.7 for the past quite a few years. Um, and a lot of it is because we put that's important to us. So when I'm recruiting, I do look for stronger academic athletes, because that's important to us. We create a mission every year. On our mission this year, the girls, and they do it, we do it together, but I give them the direction, and then they come up with what do they want to accomplish this year. And
Right.
so one of the things on our mission this year is to have a team GPA of a 3.7 or higher. So that's
Wow.
something that's important to them, not just to me. So that is definitely something we look for. I think one of the things that we really look for at Westchester is just a team mindset, people that are team players. Collegiate gymnastics is not your individual sport anymore. It turns into
Yes.
team sport. And Westchester, we're very team oriented. Um, we have a slogan in the athletic department, which actually started with the gymnastics program. Together we're golden. We're the Golden Rams at Westchester. So together we're golden, and how important every single individual is, to make our team become successful, whether they're competing or not. So looking for those athletes that are willing to step into new roles, maybe, understanding that, they might not compete their first year or things like that.
Right.
But that there's value in what they bring, regardless of that. So, that team mindset is
I
very
think that's a
important.
big part of college too, is just adapting to new places, new faces, new
Yeah.
situations. Yeah. Usually the gymnasts are pretty equipped to do that, but you never know. Like the first the first year of college when they're kind of out of water.
Yeah, yeah. Gymnasts do. I mean, obviously, with the academics and everything, they tend to be really strong. I think because they tend to have that type A personality, and
Yeah.
they tend to, had to figure it out,
Yeah.
going to club and being at the gym all the time and having to figure out how to get their academics done. So mostly,
Yeah.
it's not a hard transition. At Westchester also,
Yeah.
we have something that's called an athletic academic mentoring program. And we put
Cool.
all of our first year students in it, and it's excellent. So when they're in that program, they have a mentor that they meet with every week. It's a graduate student, but they meet with that mentor, and that mentor helps them transition to college, helps them figure out, like, okay, I have, 3 tests this week. How am I going to
Yeah.
manage that? Things like that. They also have to do 4 hours of athletic study hall. And
Okay.
then we encourage them to get a tutor. Tutoring is available for all students on campus. So that has really helped. Once we started that program, that's when the GPAs of my first year students really shot up.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. Okay, so I do want to talk about your kind of like your team schedule, but before we leave recruiting, I have one more question. If a recruit was trying to get your attention or impress you, what's your preferred method of contact? Do you like Instagram? Do you like emails?
So email is the best for me, just because that's the thing that I go through every single day. Every single day, I'm going to go through my email. Um, I love to have an Instagram link in the email,
Yeah.
saying, hey, like, I just posted this, please check it out.
Hmm.
That's best for me.
Okay.
Um, I feel like more athletes are desiring to text message. And for me, it's really, really hard, because then I have no separation from my home life to my work life.
Yeah.
Um, and also texts tend to get lost because I don't have the time to address it right away. And so then
Right.
sometimes I can forget. Whereas an email, I go through that regularly every day. It's just part of the
Yep.
work, my workload.
Okay, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
Texts always get lost and then I forget and I remember a week later.
Yes.
Let's move into talking about your school a little bit because a lot of people might not be familiar with Westchester in
Mhm.
Pennsylvania. So tell us some awesome things about your school.
Awesome. So Westchester is beautiful. It's an absolute beautiful campus. It's an amazing location. We're about 40 minutes outside of Philadelphia,
Okay.
20 minutes from Delaware, 2 hours from New York City. So there's lots of things around, lots of things to do. The campus itself is beautiful. It is easy walkable. Most of your academics and where you're going to live your first year is all in a nice walking distance. Um,
Nice.
I think one of the greatest things about Westchester is the downtown. We have an amazing downtown. Westchester is not just a college town. It's an amazing community. A lot of people like to live in Westchester. The school districts are really, really good. So it's a really nice community that surrounds the university. And so the downtown is not just for the college students. It's for,
Right.
it's for the community. But they have a lot of really nice restaurants and shops, and it's just really cute. And I think that's one of the things. It's interesting because a lot of people, well, I went to Westchester so many, many years ago. It's not really the same. Downtown, it was not like it is today when I went to school. But even so, I think even people in Pennsylvania don't realize how amazing Westchester is. I was taking a recruit, I think last year or 2 years ago, from Pennsylvania around on a tour, and her parents were like, "This is like a hidden gem." I'm like, "Yeah, it is. A lot of people don't realize it's a really, really beautiful school."
I was just looking at pictures online in the fall and it looks amazing. Has that gone
Yeah.
away or are you still like in the peak of fall?
Fall is kind of dragging out here. We're not getting a lot of cold weather yet, so we still have the leaves up. So it's
Nice.
beautiful. It's my favorite time of year.
Awesome. So most gymnasts that come from club are pretty used to the stringent schedule of school and gym, and that's their life. But when they come to college, it can be a little bit different because they're away from home and whatnot. So can you just walk us through kind of like a typical schedule during the meet season, maybe on season and off season,
Sure.
like practice, school, workouts, etc.
Sure. So we practice 5 days a week. We practice Monday through Friday, 3 to 6:30.
Okay.
And so we in that time frame, we have three 45-minute rotations. So we do floor and vault every other day, and we do bars and beam every day.
Okay.
And then we also lift twice a week. We have a strength and conditioning coach, but we do lift at the end of practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So they're not coming two-a-days or anything like that. So
Okay.
that's helpful um, for them. Our gym is actually located about a mile from main campus. And we have shuttle buses that continually run from North Campus to South Campus. First year students live at North Campus.
Okay.
Parking at North Campus is impossible anyway. So even a lot of my upperclassmen who live off campus or who live down in the apartments at South Campus, they utilize the shuttle system as well because if they have a car, they're not going to be able to park it up there. So, during the day, obviously it's college, they have block scheduling. So they have,
Okay.
maybe three classes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, two classes Tuesdays and Thursdays. So they're, getting up, maybe if they're a breakfast person, going to the cafe for breakfast, or maybe they have something in their dorm that they get for breakfast, going to their classes, probably going to the cafeteria for lunch. Most of the time they come down to the gym around 2 o'clock. A lot of the athletes go to the athletic training room if they want to get some kind of treatment or if
Okay.
they get taped or something like that. And then we start practice at 3 o'clock. When practice is done at 6:30, a lot of the girls go to the cafeteria. Obviously, the girls that live off campus don't often go to the cafeteria, but every once in a while we'll have a cafeteria day where everyone kind of goes, and sometimes I'll go as well. So that's kind of fun. And then the first year students do have that 4 hours of athletic study hall requirement a week. So they usually go 2 nights a week after dinner.
Okay.
It's from 7:30 to 9:30. 2 nights a week is when they usually go. And then we don't practice on weekends. So in the fall, it's nice because we're traveling and competing so much in the second semester. It's nice
Right.
for them to get that time of of having that, weekends off. But sometimes we have a lot of events too. We do, volunteer events, fundraising events. The university has different events that they do on weekends. So um, that can be something that happens during the
During
weekends.
during the meet season, are you still Monday through Friday and then meets on the weekends? Or is the
We
schedule
are
change a
still
little?
Monday through Friday,
Okay.
except in some rare, when before school starts, sometimes during that winter break period, we might have a practice on a Saturday or something. But no, during meet season, we still don't practice on the weekends. Um, and the schedule changes a little bit. We still practice Monday through Friday, but on Mondays we actually don't practice. We watch film from the previous weekend.
Very
Uh,
cool. Cool.
yeah.
Okay, so
And
let's
then,
talk. Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead.
no, that's okay. That's good.
I was going to say, so Westchester is a public school, correct?
Yes.
So we could talk about finances a little bit, and you don't have to give me any firm, hard and fast numbers or anything, but you guys are a lot more affordable than, some of your Division III private schools, which is nice. But could you talk a little bit about financial aid and scholarships and how you kind of divvy that out?
Sure, absolutely. So, as you mentioned, it's a public university. It's a state, one of the state schools in the PASHE school system in the state of Pennsylvania. Um, because of that, tuition is pretty reasonable.
Hmm.
We do have in-state and out-of-state
Right.
tuition. In-state tuition is excellent. And so if you're from the state of Pennsylvania, we'd love to have you because the scholarships that we give I think go a long way with the cheaper of tuition. The
Absolutely.
out-of-state tuition is definitely more, but like you mentioned, it tends to be less than some of the private universities. So, um, we do give athletic scholarships. Um, so we are not currently a fully funded Division II university. So Division II universities can give up to 6 full scholarships divided up, and we are
Okay.
not fully funded currently. We give about 3 full scholarships divided up.
Okay.
We're always trying to build on that, and the university is trying to help us with that. So we're hoping to increase that within the next couple of years. We'll see. But currently, most of our athletic scholarship is fundraised money. So we fundraise for
Okay.
our athletic scholarships. And how we do that, how do we raise that much money to get 3 full scholarships, is 2 invitationals a year. We just had a one in the
Okay.
fall, and then I have one in the spring that's pretty big. We have about 800 athletes that come to the one in the spring. And then
Wow.
clinics and summer camp, that all goes towards scholarship dollars. And so how do we divide it up? Most of the girls on our team get some sort of aid from of athletic scholarship. The average that we usually start with is about $4,000. So it's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
Some people maybe more, some people maybe less. And then we try to hold money back. And then if they do well, we try to bump them up.
Okay.
Makes sense. Um, and like I said, we're trying to build on that and get higher than the 3, but currently that's where we are. We're at 3. And I'm completely honest. I like people to know this because I don't want to go through the whole process and then we get to
Yeah.
that point and they're like, oh, I can't do this. Um,
Right.
Worcester also offers merit scholarships. And that's not anything that we have control over, but it does, it's based generally speaking on a formula that the university comes up with that has to do with their GPA. Test scores are not required at Westchester at this point anymore. So they don't utilize that unless you want them to. So if you want your
Okay.
test scores to be utilized, they'll be looking at that as well. And the maximum merit scholarship currently is $6,000 for a year, if you're at the top tier.
Okay.
Um, and that's for out of state. In state is less. In state is about $2,000 just because of the difference in tuition.
And you can also go through the regular FAFSA for like the work study or
Absolutely. I
the,
encourage you to go through
yeah.
FAFSA. That's going to help you. Also, sometimes we have housing scholarships that we're able to give out as well. We
That
have
sometimes can be more than tuition, the housing and the food, the
the
room and board.
housing is more than tuition, especially for in-state students. The housing is more. It's
Yeah.
more. Especially, I feel like it just keeps getting better and better and bigger. And so those things sometimes
True.
get expensive.
Yeah.
We do have 2 types of living facilities on Westchester's campus, though. Some traditional that are more like kind of what I went to, the dorms that I lived in, a dorm room and then the communal bathroom down the
Right.
hall. And then we also have suite style livings. And first year students or anyone can choose either of those styles. It's not like a first come, first serve kind of thing. They do
Okay.
hold enough for first year students as well. So you can live in either of those styles. You just pay more for the suite style than you would for the traditional style.
Got it. Okay, so as we wrap up here, can you just let's talk a little bit about you, like your coaching style and
Sure.
kind of maybe some of your goals for your team this year?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I feel like my coaching style is I come from a very positive positive leadership style. It's something that I'm passionate about, but I also am passionate about sharing that with my athletes. For example, every year we read a book together. This year we're reading something
Love
that's
that.
called The Energy Bus. And The Energy Bus is by John Gordon, and it's really about being, positive and how that positive energy really can help in the gym. And so that's definitely my philosophy of coaching, is to coach from a very positive perspective. Lots of encouragement. There's lots of cheering and lots of encouragement in our gym, not just from me, but from each other. So it's a lot of high energy in the gym, as well as personal responsibility, I think, is another really big one as far as my coaching style is, I think this is getting better, but I feel like in past, it's been like, okay, I'm going to do it because my coach is yelling at me to do it. And that just
Yeah.
doesn't work. That's not our style in our gym. And so if that's someone's style, like they can't do it unless someone yells at them, that's Westchester's not the place for that, because we're not, that's just not how it works. It's like, we're going to give you the tools and we're going to say these are the things that we're expecting from you, but you need to take that step forward and step into those places.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Coach, you have been so generous with your time. I really, really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Sure. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It was nice to get to talk with you a bit, Casey, and I look forward to maybe doing it again in the future.
Awesome. I would love that. Thank you. Thanks so much for tuning in to Discover College Gymnastics. For the full episode transcript, show notes for the episode, and links to all of our social media, visit our website at discovercollegegymnastics.com. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast player so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time as we sit down with another coach for an inside look at the world of college gymnastics.